we will be assembling the winter birdhouse. And I noticed that I forgot to get out my ink, so I'm going to grab that real quick. I'm going to be using Jumbo Java and a light blue for my snow. Okay, so I have my pieces laid out. This is the box and this is the insert. Everything's laid out to where it's going to go. And let's just start assembling. Now the wreath for the front has it has these ball ornaments, and if you don't want to use them or you don't want to use them all, that won't affect the design any. So I'm just going to start assembling some of these pieces. You just need a small amount of glue on the ornaments to stick those together. It's a pretty straightforward box card. There's just one insert. On the cardinal, he doesn't have an eye, so if you want him to have an eye, you'll need to use a white marker or some, I'm going to be using the liquid pearls. I couldn't think of what it was called. I'm going to use some ink on my bow. Okay. Now for my wreath, I think I want to try to pop up the layer. So I'm going to use some foam squares. I'm going to cut them so that they're not hanging over the edge. And I'm just going to place a few. That just popped way away. This one actually isn't sticking very good because this was a leftover one from before. So let me start with a fresh one. I think that'll be better. Yeah. This one's definitely got a little more sticky to it. I think I'll just cut 4. Slivers. Cover up my ink. When I layer this together, I'm going to offset the leaves so that my wreath looks a little more full, just like that. Just that little bit of foam. My watch thinks I'm trying to talk to it. Just that little bit of foam helps it look kind of spiky, like like a wreath does. Put a little bit of glue here. I think I'm just adhering my ornaments. Because we know all birds decorate with Christmas ornaments. Okay, I'm gonna set that aside, let that dry. Now this is the box part of the card. The circle here is for your sentiment on the back. So just put those together. Set that aside. I want to fold my card here. And then I'm going to apply my panels. And I know I've already said this, but these panels for the front of my birdhouse and the sides, I have embossed with a wood grain. Oh, and I put the glue all on the wrong side. So you'll put your glue on the correct side and your holes will line up properly. Cannot believe I did that. I should have checked before I put the glue on. I'm not going to worry about that because it's going to be covered by my wreath, which is why I didn't notice it to begin with. So check before you glue that piece that you've got that going in the correct direction. These sides go on. Okay. When you put the roof on, you want to make sure, because now it lines up right to the top, but you don't want to glue all the way to the edge because it does hang over. So be mindful of that. I am going to I'm going to use foam and pop my roof. But I have to be careful not to take my foam tape down to that edge. And I like lining snow or any white actually with blue. And I'm just gonna line my foam tape up on my birdhouse because I don't want it hanging over the edge. These are the foam squares I get at Dollar Tree. And I'm just making sure I've got this lined up to the edge. And then I'm going to glue this down in place, get it on here quickly and hide my horrible mistake. There we go. Mistake covered. That never happened. Okay. There is some small decorations here for the roof if you want to use them. A lot of these pieces, if you don't want to do all this little detail work, are optional. It doesn't affect the function of the card at all. So for anyone who doesn't like paper piecing and putting all the pieces together, just don't do it. The card's not going to be as detailed, but you know, it's not necessary for the card to function. I'm also going to pop my holly. So put that about there. And I think I'm just going to pinch this guy up. I'm only going to glue him down at the bottom. At the bottom here. Give that a little bit of dimension as well. Glue my berries. Then there's 2 extra berries, if you want to use them, to make it look like there's a bunch of 3. Again, these aren't necessary, they're just here for the small detail. I'm just hitting the edges here so that it doesn't just blend right into the piece behind it, since it's the same color. And then I'm going to put down my snowflakes. I want mine to be very subtle, so I'm not inking them. They're a pale blue already, so they stand out a little. But I don't want too much attention on them, so I'm not inking the edges. This is for my sentiment. Apply that to the back. So the box part of the card is finished, and let's move on to the insert. So the cardinal is 3 pieces. The black of the eye glues here onto the beak. And that was to keep the beak from being super tiny. And then this just glues into place here on the bird. Just like that. I'm just going to hit his edges just lightly. And he will be situated just right here on the very edge of the opening. So you will see him through the card. Okay. So just kind of bring his tail up close to the fold line. I'm going to go ahead and fold this now. So I'm going to apply my glue to the tail and then just a small piece of glue there at the very bottom. Just ever so slightly. I'm going to try to turn him a little bit so that his face is as closely to centered as I can get it. And that's how that piece is going to go. These snowflakes, you're just going to glue just the edges of them. This is why my insert I did not cut in the light blue like I did the house, because I didn't want it the same color as my snowflakes. I wanted some contrast. So I'm just going to glue the edges of this. Check again which ones are on the edge. Be careful not to affect the function of your card opening and closing. Okay. And then this snowflake goes on this side. And then this smaller cardinal, I'm going to put him on top of the big snowflake. I probably should be using my pickup tool. And then I want to pop up this one snowflake. Okay. There. So that gives the effect of looking like it's 3. I also want to pop up my cardinal, but you do have to be careful if you're going to use a foam square here as well, because any sticky hanging over will get stuck on your card. So cut that to fit in there. Make it look like he's sitting on the edge of the house. Okay, so that is completed, and we're going to now insert it into the card. I'm going to apply glue to my tab. And I'm going to line it up right up against the fold. and then apply pressure to get that to stick. Stick, stick, stick. Open it, oops, fold that back. Then I'm going to bring this edge over and I'm going to glue that down. Okay. Okay, and then close up your card. So I'm going to add glue to this piece. Oops. And then push it down. Get that to stick, fold it both ways. Make sure you've got some good adhesion. And there you have the winter cardinal birdhouse. Thank you for joining me.